Right, I think I might owe you lot just a little bit of a renovation update, because I mean the house is done now, which is insane to say, and yeah, it has been, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been horrific. I've been working 18 hours a day for I don't even know how long, and yeah, renovating a house of this size whilst having a full-on day job, horrific. It has been. I love it now the house is done. But getting to this point, yeah, it's just been bad. Instead of just running around the house really quickly, I think I'm gonna split it up. So I'm gonna do kind of like the different areas, and then I can go into more detail, because otherwise it's gonna be, well, if I went into loads of detail, it'd probably be a 3-hour video. But instead, if I split it up, I think that's gonna be a better way of doing it. Yeah, let's start at the front door and then work our way. So obviously, to go from, I'll put a photo on the screen of what this whole area was looking like a few months ago to get to now, there's quite a lot of progress has happened. So this is actually a lowered ceiling that allowed us to get all the plumbing and the waste from the shower and the toilet and the sink. That's all above the plasterboard there. And because the ceiling heights in here are like 3 and a bit meters, you can afford to lose that ceiling height. And that's how, if you ever wonder how you get plumbing around, because obviously, yeah, it'd look pretty ugly if you just had the pipes running under the ceiling. So that's how we did it there. We lowered the ceiling. As you can see, we put some nice coving up. So this coving, you'll see in quite a few of the rooms, is actually not plaster. It's just polystyrene. It's the biggest one you can get from Screwfix. I think that's where we got it from. It's not that expensive, and coving is quite hard to do, except for it's not. Essentially what you're doing is it's polystyrene, so it's so easy to cut, but this size coving doesn't actually fit in like a coving cutting thing. So essentially my brother and me were just sending it pretty much on every single cut, and the cuts look so bad, but luckily you can get quick drying filler, and I have spent hours and hours sanding and filling, and it basically looks like it does now, which, yeah, I mean, it looks perfect. And everyone thinks it's original. Along with these cost like 50 quid. I just think they look nice. What else? So this is the original door. It's just been sanded down, painted with gloss black. Remember to do your undercoats. We actually got a painter in because, yeah, this house is actually, well, we made it massive, which is quite annoying, especially with 3-meter high ceilings. That's a lot of paint. We've gone for like a creamy color on the walls. I'm not sure how it comes across on camera, but you can see here. So obviously this thingy, can't remember what they're called, cornicing? No, that's not right. Don't know, whatever that is, balustrades. No, that's not what it's called either. I don't know. Whatever that is, that's in white, because if it was just in cream, it'd kind of disappear. But you can kind of see there where the light's properly on it. It's just like a really whitey cream. I just think it looks rich. We went for a massive dangly light thing. If you see my hand next to it. And just 2 spotlights here, which are controlled here. So we've got 4 switches, which do that light. That's the hall light upstairs. Oh, that's the outside light there, as you can see. And then the hallway here, that spotlight. We've got 2 sockets there, just in case you want to plug in a Hoover. Skirting, just normal, very expensive, because of everything that's going on in the world. Horrific amount of money spent on skirting. The whole house has been rewired, replumbed, and then we just got a cheap Wix radiator cover. I think that's where we got it from. And if you get a trade account with Wix, you get like 10 or 20% off. Always make a trade account. You don't have to be in a trade in order to have a trade account. And yeah, you can get some really good discounts, like at Porcelanosa, which is where we get our tiles from. But they're like the poshest, most expensive tiles you can get pretty much. They're in all the like Knightsbridge, Belgravia apartments. And if you make a trade account, I think we got 58% off, which is the most we've ever managed to haggle. But yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get, and that's the story with everything. And remember, the biggest saving of all is we do everything ourselves. So, but yeah, like the flooring. Oh yeah, I've completely forgotten about the flooring. So this is pretty nice herringbone flooring, quite expensive. Managed to haggle quite a bit on it and get money off. But yeah, the color doesn't fully come across on camera. Like, for example, that comes across quite dark, whereas in real life, it's not as dark as it looks on camera, if that makes sense. I think you can actually see the color of the wood floor a little bit better from this angle, because you've got more spotlights above it. But yeah, it is a really like light wood flooring. And yeah, super happy with it. There was quite a lot of thinking that went into this. So for example, we wanted the center of the V to be in the center of the door, which I don't know why I do things like this. It's just how my brain works. I like it. So yeah, the center going here. But then annoyingly, I wanted the center to be in the center of this bit, but I couldn't quite get that. So it's a little bit to the right. Literally no one cares, Chris. But yeah, I care because I like stuff like that. I'm a bit weird. Yeah, attention to detail. It does go a long way. It's that little bit of thought and that 10-minute conversation my brother and me had where we were just trying to think, oh, can we line it up so it then follows the whole way? Because if you notice, it's all flowing in line. With this sort of flooring, what you want to do is you want to basically do the center V first, glue it, let it set for a while, and then when you're hitting the tongue and groove in and gluing, it's not going to push you off the center line. So yeah, top tip with that, make the center first. I'll try and put a photo on the screen so you can get a bit of an idea of what the hell I'm chatting about. Now the living room, if you remember, this room did look like this. And we knocked down the wall here. That's a little bit dodgy because it's a load-bearing wall. So if there's a load-bearing wall, what do? You get a beam. Now, you could do a steel beam, but we instead got a glulam beam because sometimes it can be a lot cheaper. And in this case, it was. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people message me when I said that this basically cost us like a few £100 to do. They've told us how much it cost them, and it's a ridiculous number. We hired a beam lifter, just like we did for the steels out in the kitchen. We just used the beam lifter to lift the glulam beam up. Then we made a post here. Obviously, you get an engineer to design what size glulam beam you need. You've got 3 lights here. So the right light is that chandelier thing. Left one's that one. We did think about spotlights in here, but because we've got enormous, like 2 and a bit meter high windows, you don't really need it. These windows are the original ones. We just bought new handles for them, which is a top tip to save money. We've got a radiator there because the kind of rule is you put radiators where windows are. And then we also do have a radiator over this side. If you're wondering as well what that 3rd light switch is here, that doesn't seem to do anything. What that is doing is essentially being a light switch to these sockets that are in the ground. So you've got one there, and then you got one over here. And the reason for having them in the ground is when you've got like these posh lamps. You see them in Harrods. They're like globy sort of lights that then have a big arm that essentially leans the lamp over. It just means that instead of going here to turn the switch on, you can just turn it on with the rest of the lights. The coving going on up here. Again, an insane amount of time, not only putting it up, but also sanding every corner to make it look how it does. I mean, there's about 17 billion corners in this room, especially because now you might be wondering what this is. Now, this wasn't originally there. That is because the boiler is actually in the basement and there's a flue going there. And if you're wondering what a flue is, it's basically the extractor from the boiler. All the hot air is running under the floor out to here. When you do that, you need access hatches. So that's what that is. There's one under the carpet there. And instead of just doing a box in the corner, we thought we would try and make it look a little bit nicer by kind of making it look like it's always been there, if that makes sense. So what we did was we had to extend it to here as well. Actually, I just forgot, because the pipes that are coming from, as you might remember me saying in here, the lowered ceiling from the bathroom that's up there, those pipes are then running, and we basically made a false stud wall here, which allows all those pipes to run out. And then using this kind of chimney area that we made for the flue, that's where all the waste is then running. Then we've got a waste pipe that's running under the floor there, going down to the manhole that we made, which I'll show you in a bit. Doors. Okay, so because this house is a chimney, because it goes 1 flight of stairs, 2 flights of stairs, 3 flights of stairs, 4 flights of 5. There's so many flights of stairs. You need intumescent strips. What's that? Well, that means you need to route out your doors, put this in. What is it? Well, it's kind of like a little bit of plasticky-ness that you put in. You got to router it out. It's routering, yeah, you got to spend £100 on a router, but that's not much in the scheme of things. But yeah, what is the intumescent strip? Why do you do it? Well, like I was saying, it's a bit of a chimney, and if there's a fire, you need your get out route to be protected. So essentially, don't quote me on this, do your own research and everything, but for this house, what we needed it on was all the kind of main rooms off of the staircase if you're living in. So what happens is when there's a fire and the house is burning down, you can then slam the door shut to get out. And when the door's on fire, that intumescent strip, I believe, literally just melts and expands the foam, I believe. And that kind of makes an airtight seal around the door. I mean, the doors are a ton of work. Putting the doors in with all the hinges, routering it. If you're wondering where these are £100 every single one. No, they're not, £8 from Screwfix. As you know, my brother and me are weirdly cheap. Yeah, it's quite hard to explain that because it's like, spend £10 extra on something. Nah, I can't do that, that's a rip-off. But then a carbon fibre bonnet on an SVR Range Rover, yeah, that's 100% necessary, I need that. So it doesn't really make that much sense. But yeah, this is like £1,200 and my brother got it for £200 on eBay. And eBay and Gumtree is like 50-50, okay? And from my experience, you either end up at a celebrity's house or you end up almost getting shanked. This was an original fireplace, but it didn't have any of this niceness. So this, you might remember on Instagram, I revealed when I broke off all the protectiveness that had been covering up. If you're wondering why like the Victorian-y people covered stuff up, is because obviously if you're not using a specific fireplace, it's essentially an exit, hot air rising, is taking all your hot air out of your house. They would just board it up. And luckily this was all behind it. So all we did was just clean it and then paint it. And yeah, it looks brand new. Annoyingly, at some point, people had broken stuff off of it. So that's a little bit annoying. Yeah, super happy with how that's turned out. And this style pops up in London all over the place. Most terraced houses have it. It's a bit weird. Another tip to save money on TVs is buy the year before, because I mean, technology in TVs is like staying pretty similar at the moment. It's a sick TV and I think it was £400 because it's just last year's model. And if you're wondering, it's just on with brackets, and then we've got a socket, just like a normal one of them, just up behind it. Oh yeah, the carpet is really thick. And I mean, this house is like 200 square meters, and only the hallway and the kitchen and the bathrooms are what don't have carpet. So that's probably around 130 square meters of carpet, which when you go for quite a thick carpet like this, yeah, it's quite expensive. But yeah, just haggle, bounce prices off of each other, and you can get pretty good deals. The key is with carpets is you want to get really thick underlay, because thick underlay matched with then a thick carpet is just super comfy, and then it feels like an even thicker, comfy carpet. And I quite like it when it's kind of got like a little bit of a shininess where it's like a little bit silky. So yeah, I'm just lying on the floor right now, and it's quite nice. You can see all the coving. The other thing that you might want to know about coving is obviously the lengths. You're going to have to make a join. And when you do a join on coving, you make sure it's on diagonals, because can you see the join? Nope. I think I'm going to call it that for the video. Please like the video and subscribe if you are new. Yeah, next video is going to be the kitchen update.